Hey guys, welcome back to today's show. Now, I'm going to be talking about the role of joint mobility in low back health. Now, 1 out of every 2 people in the US are going to experience some sort of low back pain, strain, or tightness. And there is a common misconception about low back pain that stretching is going to take away low back pain, or maybe strengthening the back is going to take away low back pain. But what I have found over the past 10 years in practice is that unless you get to the root cause of what's causing the low back pain or tightness, you're not going to get complete resolution of symptoms. And when I say symptoms, I mean pain and tightness are a symptom that your body is reporting to you that something is not working in the way that is supposed to be working. So today I want to talk about the role of joint mobility and how it relates to low back pain and the health of your low back. So let's get started today. All right. So joint mobility in the back is actually, and I'm going to be saying that this is L5. And when you're talking about the low back, there are 5 lumbar vertebrae in the low back. Now, just addressing those 5 vertebrae is not going to be enough to resolve your symptoms. But in today's video, I just want you to have enough information about low back health so that you can make an informed decision, so that you can seek out care that will help you get the results that you are looking for. So for joint mobility, I'm going to be talking about L5 and L4. Now, these 2 lumbar vertebrae actually play a very, very big role in the health of your low back because you have L1, a disc, and you've got 2 nerves that come out between L1 and L2. And then between L2 and L3, L3, L4, and L4, L5, you also have a disc in between and nerves that come out on each side of that. And when you're looking at this is your vertebrae that you're looking, this is the back side and this is the front side. Okay, so this is me looking from the back side in. Now, your lumbar vertebrae is supposed to rotate freely to the right, rotate freely to the left, and it's supposed to do this without any restrictions or limited mobility. It's also supposed to forward bend, it's supposed to back bend, and it's supposed to side bend in each direction. Now, under here are some areas that I'm not talking about, or under these transverse processes, there are some facet joints in between each of those vertebrae, and those play a significant role as well. But for the sake of this video, I'm just talking about these actual joints. So L4, L5, the disc, and the nerves, that is one joint. Now, joint mobility is limited when there is a restriction in that mobility present. Now, guys, we don't have any way of knowing why or when a joint became restricted. That's kind of like the chicken and the egg, right? However, for the sake of low back health, we have seen if we improve joint mobility in the lumbar spine, we can actually resolve pain and tightness long-term, and we can keep people away from surgery. So a lot of people feel like that if they just stretch the muscles in the low back, they're going to improve their low back health. And guys, that is a myth. And if you go back to one of my videos in the beginning of this training platform on YouTube, then you're going to see that stretching is not going to provide you with long-term relief. It's crucial that you address the joint restrictions. And when I'm talking about the joint restrictions, I'm talking about L4, L5 joint, as well as the other joints above and below L4, L5, the joints in your pelvis and the joints in your hips. when we're talking about low back health. Now, joint mobility can improve when the stretch method is applied to the joint. Stretching actually calms the nervous system and provides very little results to the actual joint restriction. Okay. It is going to give you a calming effect. It's going to feel better, but you're going to feel that it's temporary in nature. Joint mobility after seeing a stretch mobility coach is going to be improved within 1 to 3 sessions in seeking care from a stretch mobility coach. Now, to improve joint mobility, stretching and mobility exercises are going to only provide you with about 10% force to make a change in the actual joint and that joint restriction. When a stretch mobility coach applies the stretch method, the results are going to be immediate and longer lasting. Now, this allows you to regain lost flexibility, joint mobility much quicker than stretching and mobility drills alone. Now, as I discussed, the low back consists of 5 lumbar vertebrae: disc, nerves, tendons, and muscles. And I found that pain and tightness in the low back causes the hips to tighten and lose mobility. Then this ultimately leads to compensation through the low back and pelvis, which can lead to sciatica, arthritis, degenerative disc disease, and even stenosis. Now, I've worked in the field of physical therapy for over 20 years, and I was not trained on this methodology, guys. Not trained on it when I was in school or when I went to extra courses after I was out of school. I actually found this methodology through working with clients within my clinic in Westchester, Ohio. And I have found that if we address the joint restrictions and they're addressed appropriately, we've seen improvements in not only joint mobility, but we can get muscles that have atrophied and improve the strength of those muscles. Now, our programs are very comprehensive and they are focused on improving the health and wellness of joints and the surrounding musculature. Now, the lumbar spine, your low back area, is supposed to bend forward, side bend in both directions, and rotate in 2 directions. When a joint restriction is found, this lack of mobility ceases and it leads to progressive degeneration if it is not addressed appropriately. If you seek care from a stretch mobility coach, you can actually resolve and improve joint mobility. You can refire muscles that have laid in a dormant holding state. This deep muscle strength stabilizes the lumbar spine, the pelvis, and the hips. And we have found that you can actually rebuild those muscles that have already deteriorated, and the cycle that deteriorates these is the deconditioning cycle. Now, if you're interested in learning more about what our stretch mobility coaches can do for you, then you can click on the link below and find a coach in your area so that you can start improving joint restrictions and seeing increases in flexibility, mobility, strength, and get your life back. Hope this video has helped you in some way.